Click, boom! What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back. And as promised, guys, we are here with the first show of the night, all right? We have some special guests here, but you guys already know the deal. I have to go through the formalities. We've got some complaints about it. I'm going to try to do it quickly tonight, okay? So if this is your first time here on the YouTube page, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We want to thank you all for checking us out here today. We appreciate your time. Make sure you guys turn on your notification bell so you know exactly when we're going live. Shows that are done early, you guys will get the notification and you know exactly when you can be here, okay? If you have never been there before, guys, make sure you check us out on Facebook as well as Instagram. Those handles are nothing but Niners spelled all the way out. Again, that is Nothing But Niners spelled all the way out. So you guys make sure you give us a follow over there. Hit us up on Twitter and Snapchat as well. That is Nothing But the number 9 ERS. That's Twitter and Snapchat. Give us follows over there. And if you guys forget anything that I just told you, don't you worry about it. We have the website for you guys, www.nothingbutniners.com. That is spelled all the way out. That is your one-stop shop for any and everything 49ers from us here at Nothing But Niners. You guys know who I am already. I am 49ers Mike _NFL. And you guys already know my man Nick is in the building. What's going on?
Bang, not a gang. What is going on, faithful? I am back and ready to talk some football, man. Getting back from NOLA, that takeover was insane, but we'll get to that on our next show. But anyway, man, I'm back and ready to rock.
Yeah, so we have some special guests here. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but if you haven't, you guys are going to do it after this. I promise you guys. We have two very special guests here. We have my man Rahshaun and we have my man Eric Davis. Both of these guys are joining us here on behalf of the Bleav in 49ers podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Gentlemen, what's going on?
What up? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the invite. I don't get invited places much.
I'll start inviting you out all the time if you want, man.
Good looking out.
No problem at all. So, gentlemen, man, I know that everyone has got some busy things going on, so we want to jump right into this, man. We're going to have a lot of fun here tonight. We're going to pull up the live comments so I don't miss anything down there. All right. So, this is going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to talk about the 49ers here, and I'm going to kick this thing off with the first question. Nick and I will ping-pong it with you guys. Let's talk about your podcast, man, the Bleav in podcast. Talk about what made you guys want to get into it, and then what are some of the passions that drive you to continue doing it?
Jump on it, Ray. Go ahead. Did Rahshaun freeze up on us?
I think so.
Look at that being on. Look at that shiesty computer work he got going there, man. Well, you know what? Just to get in and just talk ball, man. I enjoy it just like you. I'm looking at all the banners behind both of you guys. I got a little bit of love for those colors myself. So it's always good to talk about the team. And you know what? I've been there good times, bad times. I feel like I'm a pretty well-informed football fan. And I think I've earned the right somewhat to talk about it. I kind of know what it's like walking those halls and wearing those colors and feeling that love from the fans. So just to talk about it from that aspect of it is what I like, not just the X's and O's and not just, trying to be all analytical about the game and sound smarter than everyone else. I like doing it from a fan's perspective because that's what I am. I'm a football fan. I watch almost every single snap of every game every week. And that's how I feel about the game. So that part of it I enjoy. So, and it's nice to be able to talk about the colors and talk about them, especially when they're winning like this, man. It's so much more fun. So much more fun.
Absolutely. And Rahshaun, it looks like we got you back with us now. I want to give the floor to you also. Just what made you want to start the podcast and what are the passions that drive you with it?
You know, I get to hang out with Eric Davis. You know what I mean? Who passes up that opportunity?
Stop
right?
He's
my man. He's a good guy. I'm learning a lot about football from around him, being around him. I got a call and they said, Eric Davis was a part of this podcast. They were looking for somebody to join them. So in all honesty, they called me and I was like, I don't know. But then they said Eric Davis. I was like, oh, when we starting? So, and it's kind of been history since there. So I mean, we're just kind of getting this thing going. I grew up a Niners fan. Eric, is one of the guys that I watched, growing up, obviously. And so, I mean, it's cool just to talk ball, just to talk Niners with him and just to try to see this thing grow. So it's weird. Like, this is my first foray into the podcast space, so I had no idea that there are all these different Niners podcasts, there are all these different team specific podcasts,
Right.
anything of that nature.
Right. Didn't know
And
that.
as soon as we started doing this, and I just started seeing more and more Niners stuff just pop up all over the place. So I never was a huge I had a couple podcasts that I would consume, but none of them were like team specific or anything like that. But now I'm starting to see more and more things pop up, getting to meet different people, like you guys. And so it's been cool. It's been pretty fun. And the fact that this team is winning this year is making it a whole lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Mike, I'm only hearing you. I'm not hearing anybody else.
Oh, you couldn't hear Eric or
Yeah.
Nick? Try saying something. Let's see if he can hear you really quick, Nick.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I'm not hearing
No?
anybody. Yeah,
he
you're the only one
didn't want to
hearing.
hear me anyway.
So I don't know. I don't know if ED was talking smack or not. I don't even know what he said.
Oh yeah, he was. He was. All right, listen.
He-
So what I want you to do is just back out really quick and then try popping back in. That happens sometimes when we have multiple people on.
Okay.
Usually when they come back, it'll get you fixed right back up.
All right.
So we'll keep it going and we'll bring him right back in here. So there we go. He's gonna pop out. All right, now we got the three of us here. Go ahead, Nick. I'll give you you have the floor now, Nick.
Yeah, I was going to touch on what Rahshaun was saying about, not knowing how many 49ers podcasts are out there or just team specific podcasts. Because when we started Nothing But Niners 3 years ago, we're like, oh, we didn't think it was going to take off as big. And it just kind of took its own route. And obviously the content and things of those natures matter. But, make sure you guys check out their podcast. Like we've been saying, Bleav in 49ers, and that's on the podcast network. I believe you guys are on all social media avenues, correct, Eric?
Yes. Rahshaun anyway. He's on everything. I'm just on Twitter. Just got back on it. So
yeah. No, I mean the podcast in itself is on like.
The podcast, yeah. Wherever you listen to your podcast, if you're listening right now, you can find it. Okay, so that much is there.
All right, awesome. Rahshaun, you got us back now?
I heard. Was that the plug, ED? Was that the plug? I heard.
Hey.
I heard that.
That was a plug. So I was asking him. I was going to touch base on what you said, and it was like, when you first start listening to podcasts and stuff, you don't realize the nature of how many specifics there are out there, and that's what I was saying to Eric is. When we started this 3 years ago, we didn't realize it was going to take off as much as it did. And obviously content and things like that. And, how much you put out there is what makes you grow as well. But I was just making sure that you guys were on all social media avenues, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those types of things so that where people know where to find you guys at Bleav in 49ers podcast. So make sure you guys check that out as well.
Yep, and that's the ticker going across the bottom of the screen. So, guys, let's talk some 49ers, man. One of the reasons I love your guys' podcast is Eric has this confidence when he speaks, and Rahshaun brings me back to, like, it's the fears that I'm trying to push away. Like, no, we're good. We got this. And you guys are like, one is the devil on my shoulder, the other one's the angel on my shoulder. And they're both my thoughts, and then I just love hearing you guys go at it. So let's talk about this team, man, fellas. There's a lot of injuries and stuff that are going on right now. What are the biggest concerns that you guys have for the 49ers going forward? I mean, we have the defensive line that is looking thin. Some people are concerned about Tevin Coleman. We can start anywhere, so I'm going to give you guys a floor. Let's just talk about this team and some of the negative things. I mean, we see the record. We're looking like we're going to finish this year 14-2, 13-3. But I mean, the record is going to be what it is. What's concerning right now? Because Eric, I know you're always with the confidence, and Rahshaun, you get, like I said, you're like I don't know, man. What about this? What about that? So I can't wait to hear what your concerns are. Eric, I want you to challenge your inner Rahshaun here and tell me some of the things that we should be cautious about.
Well, you're going to have to just worry about some of the continuity in the offensive line. You got a new center in now. How is that going to affect things moving forward? That's an important part of your line. That's going to help set your protections. That's going to help out your quarterback. In every situation, be it run or pass. So that right there is something that I really want to see. I'm not like overly worried about it because because what I've seen so far. It seems like the guys have been coached up and the talent base is at a level to where when the second guy comes in, there hasn't been a major drop off all season. So why should I expect one now? I mean, every time you've seen someone have to come in and fill in, regardless of the position, it's been okay. The only thing, as long as the quarterback is in, I'm okay. We all know that there's always a major difference between your starting quarterback and your backup quarterback. But every other position out there, I mean, hell, when they had to get another kicker, he did okay. Everything seems to be fine. So I'm not
kinda.
well, you know what? The one Robbie kinda. Okay.
Yeah, all of them. That's why I gave him a C. And you were like, "Oh, you're being too hard on the special teams." I gave him like a C at our mid-season grades.
Well, no, you gave the special teams. That should have been directed at the kicker. There's a difference between teams and the kicker.
We are family, ED. We are family.
You know what? I told you, we win as a team. If we lose, it's somebody's
it's your fault. we call those
Eric. I wouldn't
lose.
So if we lose, that's what I learned as a Niner. When we win as a team, if we lose, it's someone's fault, and don't be the guy. Don't let me say it's your fault too many times, because we can get another guy. That's football.
We if you guys listen to the podcast, we call those Eric-isms. The center thing is a little alarming, just because that's a guy who touches the ball on every single play, right? So that's some cause for concern. But aside from that, like, I know you mentioned Tevin. I'm not really too concerned about Tevin.
No.
The combination of Tevin and Matt is a little concerning, because we need one of those, whether it's Tevin or Matt, not sure. But long as one of those guys is healthy, I think is okay. And then you complement that with Radio Raheem. I'm a huge Raheem Mostert fan. So as long as Radio Raheem is getting his carries, I think either Breida or Tevin, whoever that is, I think they can fill in the rest. Aside from that, I mean, we know this team has had tremendous depth on the defensive line. Yes, it's been challenged over the last couple of weeks, and I mean that's just football, though, right? I mean, it oftentimes becomes a battle of attrition when you're dealing with the injuries and you're getting late into the season, which makes it, in my opinion, even more important to finish in the number one spot. And you get that bye, you get a little extra time to get some guys healthy. No, not feeling that.
Surprise, you know what? This as far as the bye goes, of course, you would love to have the rest. You would love to have some time to mend. I'm okay with that. But I was asked earlier today my fears on the Niners not getting the number one seed. I don't care. They're 11-2. You don't get to be 11-2 if you can't go on the road and win football games. This team is built to win football games, and I don't care where you play. Football is a game of matchups. And if my X's are better than your O's, it doesn't matter if we play in the middle of the freeway. I will beat you. And that's what the Niners have, a bunch of X's and O's that are just better than everybody else's Larry and Joe. That's what happens. So I feel okay. I don't care if they have the number one seed.
I'm with E. Davis on this, because look, my feeling is you have to be able to line up against the other guy that's across from you. And, you know, your talent level against his talent level, no matter where it is, what the place is, you're still going up against that guy in front of you. Yes. And if you do your work that you need to do, it doesn't matter where you are. As long as you do your job and can be successful at that job, then you have that confidence in yourself being able to beat anybody on the football field. And that's the way that it should be. And that's what this team shows right now. You just saw it. I was just live at the Mercedes Superdome, and that place, I've been to a Super Bowl, loud. That place was more electric than a Super Bowl. And these guys didn't falter at all. They didn't falter. They just kept comparing themselves to, I'm going up against this guy. This is my matchup. Do my job, and we win this football game. And that's what I see from this team right now.
Hey, man, I was in a team meeting once, and just quickly, Rahshaun, I was in a team meeting once, and this is when I was with the Panthers, and Kevin Green and I were there, and guys were bickering back and forth, and we ended up being 12-4, but at the time we were 5-4, and guys had just lost 2 games in a row, and guys were bickering, going back and forth. You know what happens in team meetings? You know, everyone's calling everyone out, and Kevin Green stood up and said, "Guys, let me explain something to you." He said, "We got a lot of young guys in this room." He said, "But football is a very simple sport." He said, "You are either kicking the man's ass in front of you, or he's handing you yours." Yeah. He said, "Other than that, we don't need to discuss anything." He said, "You decide who's kicking and who's handing right now." And we walked out. That's football, man. It's easy. The Niners have been doing a whole lot of kicking.
We're doing a lot of kicking. I agree with you there. I think everything that you said, everything that you guys are saying is true. However,
there you go with your however.
Hey, I gotta bring it. If there's an opportunity to take the road less traveled, then why not, right? If you have the opportunity to get that by, if you have the opportunity to have some games at home in front of the faithful, then why not? As opposed to having to go to Green Bay, where you said your entire body just went numb, Ed, and
Well,
also. And also, but do you really want to go back into the Superdome again? I mean, not really.
Now, I agree with you on a part. I just don't think it's as crucial as most people make it seem, right? I think
it's not make or break, right?
Right,
Like
and that's what I'm trying to say.
That's what we're saying.
It's not make or break. Like, do I have confidence that this team will be able to go on the road and win? Like we were saying last week, Ed. Like, if they have to go to Jerry's World and take on Dallas in the first round, like, is anybody really afraid of that? Like, no, absolutely not, right? But if you have an opportunity to make things a little bit more in your favor, then absolutely, why not?
Right. We were talking about some of the injuries, but we didn't really touch much on, Akello's coming back. We didn't really touch on that DB spot, and Richard Sherman is down right now for a few more weeks, probably to finish out the rest of the regular season. How much of a factor do you see that? Even with the Jaquiski Tart down, you could tell that this team was picking on Marcel Harris in this last game in New Orleans. Through the whole defensive scheme type off with that one guy being out, right? With Jaquiski Tart not playing the box and having Jimmy Ward as the free safety. How much are you guys worried about, Richard Sherman being down? And obviously we've seen how well Emmanuel Mosley has come in and played. E-Man's played a heck of football this year. And then Akello's still coming off that injury, still coming back. He's not really back to his own of what he was before the injury yet, I don't think. Does this worry you going into these next 3 games? And we're talking on that subject as in how important are these next 3 games? Is it really crucial that we get that number 1 seed, or does it not really matter? So with those defensive guys right there, obviously Azeez Al-Shaair got picked on a little bit in New Orleans. It could have just been a bad game. Marcel Harris got picked on a little bit, and those were 2 key factors in the Saints moving the football as well as they did from what I've got to rewatch so far. So what are your guys' thoughts on the defensive side of the ball, the injuries that we have right now? And then we just hear today, too, that DJ Jones, who is really big in the run game up the middle, could possibly be out for the rest of the year as well with the opposite ankle injury. So what are your guys' thoughts on those thoughts as defensive guys moving forward?
Would you like to take this, Rahshaun?
I'll start by saying what happened on Sunday was an aberration. Right, we haven't seen that at all from this team this year, so I'm not really concerned about that. You got the win, you feel happy about that. Obviously, there are so many things that are correctable. You make your corrections and you go forward. I think that's a wash. I think what happened on Sunday is a wash. We haven't seen that team perform that way at all on the defensive side of the ball all season long, so that's not really that concerning. As far as the injuries go, but I mean, Sherm obviously is huge, right? Because he brings so much. It's not just him being out there on the corner, but it's his leadership. It's his tenacity. It's he's won. He's been there. He's done that, and he's been a model for a bunch of these guys to look after and these guys to follow. So I think that hurts, obviously, but I'm not really too concerned. I mean, I think it goes back to what ED said. I mean, a lot of these guys all these guys really have been coached up, and backups that have come in, they played, particularly well for the most part, especially when you look at that offensive line. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm not really too concerned. I think after Atlanta, if we see more of what we saw this past Sunday, then it's like, okay, now we have to talk. But as of right now, it's not really too concerning at all. Akilo, you mentioned though, Witherspoon, before he went down, he was like he was probably like my MVP of the defense. He has not looked like that since he got back. But I think this Sunday is a prime opportunity for him to kind of get back to where he was, and then E-Man on the other side for him to have that consistent play that he had when he was getting the bulk of the time when Witherspoon was out. So I think this is a huge game for both of those corners. Did we lose him?
I'm back, guys. Somebody tried to call me, man. First of all,
Mr. Popularity.
Harris, I don't believe he was being picked on. That was more of Sean Payton picking on the scheme. That's how I felt about it. He was picking on the scheme. The 49ers play a lot of one high safety, and they did in this game. So when you do that, what you're going to do, you're going to attack that with seams, and you're going to attack it with corner routes. That's just basic football 101. The first touchdown to Cook, it was a missed tackle. And Rahshaun talked about this. The Niners had their worst defensive game that they've had. Thank goodness. It was going to come sooner or later. You were going to have a bad game. They had their bad game on the road against a good offense and won. You can't ask for anything better. They couldn't tackle. The first touchdown to Cook, it was thrown for 15. It was a good play call. They got him in the seam, opposite seam, should have been tackled. The second touchdown was the blown coverage. They motion over the trips. Two high safeties. First, the number 3 guy goes across. The first safety followed him. You didn't need to because you got another guy over there killing grass, and the number 2 runs right where you should have been. And so that right there, it's fixable. And that won't happen again. So these things I don't feel bad about. I don't think that they can't be taken care of, and we haven't seen them all season long, so I don't expect it to repeat moving forward. I think it's something they can take care of. Now, Sherm. With Sherm going down, I expect there to be somewhat of a drop off. It's Richard Sherman. It's a healthy Richard Sherman. He's pretty good, guys. Okay, so there's going to be some drop off. Unlike my partner there, I'm not really going to say that Witherspoon is not at the level. I think he's the same player. I agree that before he was injured, he was playing at as high a level of anyone there. I'm cool with that, and I feel comfortable with that. But remember, he's a very young player. He missed a lot of time. So leading up to the season, he had gone through all of training camp. I mean, he was grinding every day, prepping for those games. When you miss time like that, it takes a while to get back, to get your timing down, get your game down. That's hard for a veteran player, an experienced veteran. He's a young guy. So he's just got to get back into a groove. But as far as his ability, I'm not worried about him one bit. I don't think his confidence is shot. It's just a question of getting back out there.
Right.
Will there be somewhat of a drop-off at the cornerback position without Sherm? Yes, there's going to be. Do I think they can play at a level and maintain what they've been doing defensively? Yes, I do. So, again, I'm not concerned about that. The defensive front, even without Jones, who has played very well, this front is fortunate enough to have 6 guys that can start. Not a major drop-off when you move guys. You know, all the big uglies up there are able to play, and they can play well, and they take care of one another very well. So I'm not really concerned about the defense. They've shown me enough, that the next guy is good enough. And the thing about it, the standard of play is so high that good enough is really good for that defense.
Yeah.
I completely agree, man. You know, he called them the big uglies. I'm not saying that about linemen. I don't want to run into any of them in the street, but I get what you're saying.
I can't hear anybody.
Oh, I think he's all right. So listen, fellas, I'm watching the time here. I know your time is almost up. I do want to leave into one more thing really quick. What's that?
I cannot hear anybody. I'll be back, fellas.
Okay. All right. So hopefully he pops back in.
Probably when he got that phone call, probably kicks out the audio.
It's happened to me before too when we're doing it, so I understand that. So all right, so what we're gonna do really quick, Rahshaun, I know you guys have to get going soon. I want to ask you guys about. We talked a little bit about the negatives. I do want to try to be positive here, though, man. Jimmy Garoppolo. Just reflect on this man's growth just this season. A lot of people are saying since the Emmanuel Sanders trade, but I mean, you got. I don't know. I'm feeling super positive about the quarterback here. I was a little nervous. I was worried about the leg injury and things like that. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he when they ask him to do something, he just does it. And so I'm pretty confident in him. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it also. Let's bring Eric back in here too. And again, what what this is going to be, we were a little bit negative, or not negative, but the worries and things like that. So let's be positive here. Jimmy Garoppolo, just quickly, I know you guys are running out of time here. Let me know your thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo. To me, it's they call him, he answers every time. I've not seen Jimmy Garoppolo not do his job effectively. I mean, the interception that happened, I wouldn't have put that one on him, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. We'll go to Rahshaun, and then we'll go back to ED.
I apologize for getting up, but I'm on daddy daycare right now, so the kids over here.
It's the priority.
If you see me looking over here and waving my finger, I have 4 of them here.
So I'm over. We're micro multitasking here is what they call it. Anyways, so Jimmy G, right? And I got to give Eric props for this because I never looked at the game this way until we started doing this podcast. And for me, it was always okay. Like we always made this huge deal about, you know, this quarterback versus that quarterback, right? Manning versus Breeze, you know, Vic versus whoever, Vic versus McNabb, like, you know, go so on and so forth, Marino versus Kelly, whoever, right? And so, but it was always like, I mean, those guys are never on the field at the same time, right? But talking to ED, you know, he mentioned, you know, actually they may not be on the field at the same time, but you know what that guy over on the other side of that field is doing. So really, you actually are going up against that other quarterback. And for me, it was a barometer, right? I looked at, this is the third, you have your top tier quarterbacks in the NFL, right? And this was the third time this season Jimmy has gone up against one of those guys, right? He had the Monday night game against the Seahawks. That was kind of like either he was making bad throws or the good throws the receivers weren't catching. It was just one of those nights, right? He went up against Aaron Rodgers on a Sunday night, and that thing was over before it started. But this was the first time on the road, though, right? First time on the road. And I talked about this on our podcast earlier this week. Drew Brees is a master at the 2-minute drill, right? A complete master of the 2-minute drill. And I saw that thing coming from a mile away. First play, he checks down, first down. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go, right? He's been doing this for years. And I just immediately begin to cringe because I've seen this movie 1,000 times before, right? But Jimmy had 53 seconds left after they scored that touchdown. And I wasn't as confident as my man ED that would be enough time. I thought, well, maybe 53 seconds, maybe, you know, you can get downfield. I know that they didn't need to get in the end zone. They only needed a field goal, you know, so we'll see. He went in the Superdome and did that. Like he did. And shout out to George Kittle, probably play of the year so far for the 49ers. But Jimmy G battled Breeze toe-to-toe inside his building in a game that Breeze will win probably 99 out of 100 times. Jimmy G went in there, led the 49ers to that win on Sunday. And a lot of people are calling it the best game that he's ever played. I thought it was a huge growth spurt for Jimmy G. And I left that one incredibly encouraged by his growth and by what he's been able to continue to do throughout the course of this season.
Well, my thoughts on Jimmy and what I told Rahshaun about it, as far as a quarterback playing against one another, it's really simple that everything that a quarterback, you may not physically be on the field with a defense, but everything that the opposing quarterback does directly affects the play calling. It's going to affect what you have to do as a quarterback. It's going to affect what you can't do as a quarterback. It's going to change your game plan. It's going to change your ability to get all into your playbook. That's why I say the quarterbacks are always playing against one another. The level that they play at is going to affect what you are allowed to do on the other sideline. So that's what I always mean by that. And that's something that you know going into a game. As far as Jimmy, I said it from the start. Let the guy grow. Let's see. Everyone, I was like, I want to see if he can be a starting quarterback. I didn't know if the guy was. Well, this is what I said. I was like, he's not a franchise quarterback because he hadn't done a damn thing for the franchise yet. Let's just see if he can be a solid starter. But what he had shown me early on, when people were saying he couldn't do things, when we needed Jimmy to come down and get the team into the end zone, he did it. When you needed him to convert third downs, he did it. When you needed him to come from behind, he did it. When you needed him to play successfully with the lead, he did it. I was like, what else? Like every time everyone keeps moving the goal line saying, well, what if this? I wasn't concerned about it because I was like, I have no reason to, because he hasn't shown me that he can't handle the situation. I know that he comes from an organization where he's accustomed to being around big games, being in big games. Now, you can learn watching a player. You don't get better until you're on the field. But I know that he's had the opportunity to learn how to handle certain situations. So I had a certain comfort level with that, but I just needed to see him play. I've seen enough to know. And then people didn't get it and I took, and there were people who thought I was kind of coming at Jimmy when I said this. I made a comment and I said that the quarterback position was the weakest position on the 49ers team. And I said, and he's pretty good. And everyone was like, oh, you're saying he's a weak link. I'm like, no. What I'm trying to point out is that this team's level of play is so high that truly is the position that you concern yourself with. And Jimmy's not an issue. So I feel confident that Jimmy is fine. He's going to be fine. Anyone who thinks that Jimmy can't get it done, thank you. we appreciate it because he's gonna beat you, and nothing to be concerned about right now if you ask me from the quarterback position.
Yeah.
All right. So I know that you guys focused on that on your last podcast. So if you guys want to listen to that one and you want more of their answers there, you guys make sure you go subscribe to the Bleav in 49ers podcast, BLEAV. Make sure you guys type it the right way, BLEAV. Bleav in the 49ers podcast, Bleav in 49ers, and you guys will see the symbol and everything there. Make sure you guys go give them a like and subscribe. Make sure you guys leave them a 5-star rating also. That helps other people find their podcast. So guys, we got to make sure we show support to those who are showing support to us, man. Nick, I'm going to give it to you. I know you guys are out of time. I don't know if you guys have to jet. Go ahead.
Hey, we welcome haters too. We welcome all the haters too. We welcome all the haters.
Okay.
Hey, that's what keeps us going, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what this guy said, but you guys can let me know. This is a good day. It's a good day for me. I can't hear Rahshaun.
I can't believe he said he welcomed the haters. He said y'all welcome haters too.
You know what? See, this is the thing about ball. It's like playing on the road. The boos and all that stuff. That's the game. You're supposed to cheer for your colors. You're supposed to hate the other one. Hate's a good thing in sport. They don't teach enough of it. You're supposed to not like your opponent, but then you earn that. You take respect from him, because I like people like you earn respect. Respect is either freely given or you take it. No one earns respect. You're going to give it to me one way or the other. So now I'm going to have to. You can give it to me freely, or I'm going to beat you down, and then we'll take it. But either way, I'll get it, and that's part of it. So when the people come in and they don't like what we say, I love that, because then it's just a healthy debate on. Let's explain to me why I'm wrong, why you think I'm wrong. Tell me why you're right. That's the fun part of doing this. Just talking about it in a fun way.
So I don't know if Nick had any other questions. I got 2 questions from the people watching right now. There's 277 live viewers right now. I'm going to give it to Nick, and then I'm going to let you guys go. We have just 2 questions for you guys. Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, one of the watchers asked specifically at you, Mr. Davis, says, do you truly believe that this is the Niners' year?
I truly believe that this team has everything to win this championship. I was asked that question this morning, and my answer to that was there are teams that have things in place that could win it. I think that this team has all the elements of a championship team. Your stars, to be a championship team, your stars have to play like stars. They have to. You have to know that when your number is called, you have to pull a Kittle on that 4th and 2. He's a star. You expect him to make that star. And Rahshaun will tell you, it takes a lot for me to give him a game ball, because I expect him to play at that level. It was like playing with Jerry. I mean, Jerry, that's why we called him World, because All Pro wasn't good enough. We expected him to make out of this world kind of plays, and he did. But stars have to play like stars. Your role players have to know their roles. and they have to take pride in their roles, and they have to step in and perform when their number is called. That's why you have to have Mostert come in and do what he does. That's why you have to have Breida, when his number's called, come in and do what he does. When you have E-Man come in, Mosley's going to come in, I'm going to perform. You take pride in it. And then you got to have a couple of guys that you didn't know. Got to have a couple surprises. Who thought School would come in and do what he did all year long?
Right.
Yep. You have to have those things happen. You got to have some guys you didn't even plan on participating play at an extremely high level. So all of these elements are there for the Niners. So I think they have the makings of a championship team. Yeah.
Speaking on a guy that I didn't think, and I'm going to go back to this, cannot eat crow real quick, but I was never as big on two guys on this team, and that's Kendrick Bourne and Raheem Mostert.
I told you about the boys. I'm sorry.
And I go back now and I eat crow on it all the time because these guys are making plays when they need to make plays. And I asked myself this question last year was, you lose Raheem Mostert. You saw some glimpses of what he could do, but then you lose him for the season. But then he comes into the season as still a number 3. You got guys like Jeff Wilson Jr. getting touches at the goal line over him and things like that. But Raheem, man, this kid has proved me wrong. This kid has all the assets you need to be a running back in this league. And, man, it's amazing watching him grow. And the same thing with Kendrick Bourne. And it's just you got those guys, like you said, Daniel Brunskill, Justin School, Kendrick Bourne, Raheem Mostert, even Jeff Wilson Jr., Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair at times. There are a ton of guys that have stepped up this year and have made you feel like anybody we put in here is going to execute and play to the level they need to play. And a lot of that I can believe goes in coaching and execution of the player as much as they want to execute. I agree with you.
So my last question for Rahshaun is going to be, it's going to piggyback to what Eric answered. Do you think this is the year for the 49ers? You can give your answer. And also, I want you guys to let people know where they can find you guys, not just to Bleav in podcast. You guys let them know what you're working on. I know Rahshaun has a long bio of different things that he's involved with on his Twitter handle. So you guys make sure you give them all checks out. You subscribe there and everything. And go ahead, Rahshaun. The floor is yours, brother.
Is this the year? I don't want to say that this is the year, but it certainly looks like this team has. I piggyback off ED on this standpoint. It looks like this team has the ingredients. Look like they have all the ingredients. They got a defense, which is key. A top flight defense at that. They got interchangeable parts at the running back position and a scheme that is run heavy. Kyle Shanahan wants to run the football, and he's got some dudes that he can give the football to. Radio Raheem has been fantastic this year. Like earlier in the year, I was like, get this dude more carries. Even after Tevin, he was so good at the beginning of the year, and Tevin came back, and then those carries started to diminish. I was on the fence with Bourne. I wasn't really sure. Sunday was great to see that from him. I know the Seahawks game was a long time ago. But that night couldn't have been. It wasn't just him. It was the entire wide receiving core. But he was one of the guys too that had the dropsies. So to see him, come back and be able to make some plays and have the impact that he had over on Sunday inside the Superdome, I thought that was fantastic. I think this team can get it done. This team went on the road. They don't have to be at home. They proved that they can win in not so favorable conditions. They went to Washington. Offense didn't show up. Defense did. They were playing around in the slop and ended up winning that one, 9-0. Came away with the win there. What type of game hasn't this team been able to win? They've been able to win in so many different ways. They had a shootout against against a future Hall of Famer and Drew Brees on Sunday. So. I think they have the makings. I think they can get it done. Obviously, once you get into the postseason, things kind of have to crack your way. But I think if they stay the course, I think it could be a very, very special year for the Niners.
Right. Well,
I couldn't hear a thing he was saying. This has been great. I not have to listen.
I can't believe you couldn't hear him. That's why you were just sitting there like, yeah, okay, all right.
He's like, yeah, just less time I have to listen to him. It's okay.
I don't have to argue with him.
this is probably how Nick feels about me, Rahshaun. So don't feel bad.
Me and Mike are spitting images of you guys.
Yeah,
One's the devil, one's the angel over here. That's how we are, and it's awesome. But that's funny.
ED's putting on. I got to keep him centered sometime.
He said he's got to keep you centered sometimes.
That is completely the other way around. Completely. Please.
Oh, man. All right, gentlemen. Look, it's been a lot of fun. Eric, this last question here is from someone named Deb. She says, have you ever thought about coaching? Give us your answer to that there. And I guess we'll go ahead and get ready to let you go, man. You guys
okay.
are great.
Yes. I thought about it, and I think I would enjoy it. Early on, I didn't want to do it because I needed to get away from football because I didn't want to be one of those guys that looked at it like, well, we used to do it this way, or I would have done it that way. Even as far as broadcasting, I had to step away. I didn't want to do it when I first got away from the game. I needed some time away from it. I enjoy the teaching aspect of it, and coaching is teaching. The best coaches I ever had were tremendous teachers. Ray Rhodes, Pete Carroll, those guys would actually Ray Rhodes taught me how to play football. He was my defensive back coach that drafted me, and he taught me how to be an NFL corner. Pete Carroll actually took a good player and taught me how to utilize my personal skill set to become an all-pro. He taught me how to utilize everything that I had within the scheme, along with my desire to learn and do certain things. And I would enjoy doing that for other guys and watching them grow. I already do that. I work with guys and talk to guys all the time about the game. And so I would enjoy that.
Okay. All right.
What is she like an owner of a team or something?
No. At least not that I'm aware of. Maybe she knows somebody. I don't know. But yeah, so it was, just another random question. We wanted to try to involve the audience that was watching and everything. So you guys, again, make sure you guys subscribe to the Bleav in 49ers podcast. You're going to see our guys, Rahshaun Haylock there and Eric Davis as well. You guys can go to Bleav.com. and they'll give you everything that you need to know about them. Guys, man, you guys have been awesome. Guys, make sure you give them follows on Twitter. Their Twitter handles _ Eric Davis _ and Rahshaun's is R Haylock, HAYLOCK. Make sure you guys
give should be big head.
Hey, Eric, man, I wasn't going to do this, but I got to ask you, man. I saw you tweet out, get all these people off my timeline, right? And then I went and looked, and you don't follow anybody. It's on your timeline, bro.
No, this is the second night in a row someone's asked this question. Get him, Mike. Get him, Mike.
I told Rahshaun, and Warren Sapp texted me the other day. He said, "Who gets on social media and acts antisocial?" But no, what happened? I put a tweet out. And it was something about the game, and then these guys, you know what happens? Then you get tagged in someone else's fight, and these guys are going back and forth about what should have been called, and that was a pass interference, and it was a hit to the head and all this stuff. And I'm like, guys, can you please get off my timeline fighting about it? Game's over. Let's go to the next one. Move on. So that's what that was about. But I guess it was kind of ironic seeing that I'm not following anybody. I get it.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I went to go see, like, who's talking? Oh, wait, hold on. What is happening here? We have a comment here, and I'm not going to make you guys respond to this. This was someone paid $100 to get this comment on the show. I'm trying to find it in the actual.
Got it.
Wait, what?
No, so when you're doing this on YouTube, people can make a contribution, and their comment will stay up a lot longer. So I just want to read this one. This gentleman paid $100 to get this read on here. This is from George Padilla. He says, "Mr. Davis, I salute you for a great Niner, and I will never forget your signature pick six against the Cowboys in NFC Championship." So,
well, you know what, George? I think you would have done it for me, man. You would have done it for me. Now, George, I don't know if I would have paid $100 to tell you that. But I appreciate it, man.
George, that's awesome, man. We appreciate your contribution as well. I just got one more question. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but Eric, I got to ask.
Stop lying. You keep saying that.
So no, Mike keeps saying that. Mike keeps saying that. I haven't got a chance to ask you a question yet, but I do want to ask you this question. I want to ask you, Do you have an all-time favorite memory, whether it be locker room or game, as a Niner? What would be your all-time favorite memory as a Niner?
Oh, wow.
Or just a funny story or something that you remember that stands out to you.
Most of the stories I can't tell you because the guys aren't dead yet. They're still alive. But you know what? I can just say one of my favorite memories as a Niner, and I still consider myself a Niner, and I'm going to go beyond me playing, because you can always go back to something that happened on the field. But beyond me playing, one of my absolute favorite moments as a Niner was Vernon Davis scoring that touchdown against the Saints. And being a part of that moment, because I was happier. That was the happiest I ever was. I was happier then at that game than I was winning the Super Bowl. I was happier for those guys because there were guys on that team like Frank Gore and all those guys. I loved them so much. They were so good. They had gone through so much. They had lost so much, and they had played so hard for so long. And that was the first moment that they ever had to feel all that love from the Niners fans, to feel the love of Candlestick that we felt all the time. That was the first time they ever truly got to feel what that was like. And I was so happy for them. And that was like my favorite game that I was ever at. So I don't know if that answered. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that answers. I mean, that's a big thing because, you know, a lot of these fans, you know, you still hear it to this day, you know, oh, Levi's not Candlestick. You know, and it's like, you got it. It's not, you know.
It's not. You got history.
You got to start winning to get that winning feeling and that winning vibe and bringing everybody back in. And you know, but that catch, I think I might have cried with Vernon Davis on that one.
Well, you know what? The thing about it that the Field of Genes will eventually have, you'll get that love. Because you have to have those moments. You haven't had a chance to create that history. Some of the most iconic plays in the history of the sport happened in Candlestick.
Yep.
So you can't tell the story of the NFL without talking about Candlestick. It's impossible. Can't write a book, can't make a movie. You can't do it. So until you have those moments, that's why the Seattle game was a big game. That's why every game that happens this season, and you're right, it starts with winning, but now the games are of importance. That's the only reason why I would love for them to have home field advantage, because you get to have some more of those moments at the stadium. That's really why I want it. I don't think they have to do it to win a championship, but it would be cool. But yeah, those moments will come. But because I've yet to go to a game. I've gone to the stadium, but I've yet to go to a game in the stadium. Hopefully I'll be there and be able to see some of those moments happen. But I can tell you, it was nothing like that love on the field at Candlestick. It was nothing. It was a dump, but it was our dump, and we knew that everybody was there. They were there with us.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, the feeling you got walking into Candlestick was just overwhelming, and it was just like, then you look around, you're like, damn, is this wall gonna collapse on me? You know, like that feeling there, man.
You should try walking out of that little tiny tunnel.
I could imagine. But that's all I got for you guys, man. I appreciate both of you guys. If you guys aren't already, make sure you head over to Bleav.com. Check their podcast out. You can pick on all shows, go through right through there, and then just click on a show, and then it'll bring you right to it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give them a good 5-star rating as well. And, you know, that's all I got, man. Mike, you're on mute.
An excellent guest. So we're going to wrap this thing up here, man. Thank you guys for coming. Go ahead, Rahshaun.
No, I appreciate it. We normally drop our pods on Wednesdays and Fridays. We have a recap, then we also
it's
have
so
a
nice.
preview.
I can't hear him. I love it.
I could be talking so much trash about
Great.
EG right now. He can't say that.
Great.
I could be talking just the most.
We should do this more often, guys.
Trash.
Eric's gonna be one of the replays on this. He's going back there instead.
He's plugging the podcast. He's saying you guys you drop
I'm
on.
telling you, if we can get on here and he stays quiet like this, outstanding. I love it. Don't have to argue with him. All right,
Mike,
guys.
I'm supposed to be going to the Rams game. So give me some pointers. And appreciate you. You're the first one that was really, really rocking with us. So appreciate you, man. Really props to you.
Definitely not a problem, man. I don't have any point, man. We went out there. We went as a group of us. We went to the Steelers game, and then I turned around and went back for the Packers game. And my whole thing is just be live. Like when I sat down, because I know what the rumors were about that stadium before I got there, and it was, people were telling you to sit down and all that stuff. I introduced myself and apologized to people right away. Excuse me. I looked at the people behind me. I stand up and I yell and I cheer loudly. I apologize to the lady in front of me. I'm going to be really, really loud. I'm going to be probably cursing sometimes. I'm sorry in advance. If you need me to count down, don't turn around trying to swing. Just let me know. Hey, all right. And I'll apologize and I'll try to drop it back. The lady, they were looking up. They were like, hey, if you weren't doing all that, we'd be upset. So go out there and just have a good time. And that's really my only advice, man.
Sean, your first time out there?
I'm talking.
Yeah, I went to Candlestick. I went to Candlestick once. But first time at Levi's, so yeah. Me and wifey are supposed to be going up. It's a Saturday game against the Rams.
The Rams. I might actually be out there for that game.
Okay, I'll let your boy.
I'm still thinking about it, but definitely do the museum. If you're going there Saturday, what day are you going in?
We're probably going to go in Friday.
So I would recommend
Friday to Sunday type deal.
I would recommend going to the stadium and doing the museum tour and taking pictures on Friday outside of the stadium, because Saturday is going to be too hectic.
Okay.
Definitely it's going to be really hard to get really good pictures and things like that. But yeah, do the team store, the museum. And Levi's totally different now than compared to nobody sits down now.
Yeah.
It's totally different. Nobody sits down, because I remember going with Mike to the Dwight Clark ceremonial game against the Cowboys, and it was just everybody was down. We were getting our butts mollywopped.
Yeah.
But going to a couple games and people just weren't into it. They were cheering when the offense was on the field, loud as can be when the offense, quiet when the defense was on, but it's a total different atmosphere now.
Absolutely. And
just cheer loud, man. It's just, that place is electric. There's a lot of good food there. If you like burritos, I would get Burritozilla. Great burrito, breakfast burrito too.
He tries to get it every time, and I told him I value my inside, so I'm not messing with burritos.
Bro, you're on vacation, man.
Dude, burritos, it's a California delicacy, Mike. You got to get down with it.
It's definitely, man. It's definitely good, man. I'll tell you what. I ate really good in NOLA this weekend, though.
I bet you did. I got a bunch of recommendations out there for NOLA, but no doubt. Well, yeah, if you're out there, holla at your boy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for having us on. Mike, appreciate you, man. Since day one, you've been supporting us. So much love. Happy holidays, fellas.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy holidays to you as well, man.
Take care.
All right, take care.
All right, take it easy.
All right, guys. So Nick, I don't know if you want to wrap this one up and then just do another show later on or what, because I had a lot of fun, man. And again,
that's funny. Eric cracked me up when he's like, this is the best. I'll come on anytime if I can't hear him. It's like me and you, bro. It really reminds me of me and you. It's like, nope, I'm muting. It's like, no.
Popping back in and out and everything. And it's funny because I told you about how the phone rings and it messes with your audio. Remember, you were like, take your finger from over, and I'm like, I don't have my finger over anything. Let me jump out and come back and all that. So we got to see it. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, but it was a fun show, and we had a little teaser here for you guys. The episode that's going to be dropping, their next episode, they talk about Jimmy Garoppolo and what they think of him. So you guys make sure you give them a subscription, man. And guys, please make sure you guys show support. Leave a 5-star rating for them. I'm not asking for this for us. Leave it for them. Eric Davis and Rahshaun, they work really hard to bring you guys some content, 2 podcasts a week over there. So you guys make sure you send them some love and spread the word for them also. They're just getting started, and you guys see Eric Davis is barely on social media. Rahshaun is trying and everything. So you guys got to make sure you let them know, let other faithful know where they can find those guys. All right. It's a lot of fun, man. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mike. I mean, I'm excited to go dig into this next game. I didn't get to do a victory shot, but man, I'll tell you what.
Oh man,
NOLA was amazing. That's all I got to say until we talk about that game.
We'll do another show and come back, and you can tell us all about it. How's that sound?
Yeah, man.
We'll try to get one done tonight. I got to get some dinner, and then we can try to do one tonight if you want. What do you think?
Man, I'm good. Like I said, man, make sure you guys visit Bleav.com, Bleav.com. Go over there and hit up Eric Davis and Rahshaun for their podcast, Bleav in 49ers. Check that out. And then, I can't wait to talk about this NOLA game, man.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to break it all down later on, guys. We're going to wrap this one up the way that we always do. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out of here.